Good morning. It's Erev Pesach. It's had many of the dinim, though it's not really Erev Pesach. But we got to do what we got to do. Naflan Rambam Viyun. So we will try our best to get something in as much as we can. And so today we are going to be learning in the third parak of the halachas of Rambam that we learn is Hilchos Rotzei'ach Ushmiras Nefesh. So parak Zayin halacha ches. The halacha there, it's a phenomenal chiddush dika halacha according to many. And there's a big discussions about it. There's an unbelievable sikh on it, which we'll talk about later in the share. The Rambam says that a person who goes to Golus, and this is based on a Mishnah, never leaves his ir miklote, la'olam, forever. What's this forever? Dafen verstehen. What is the need? What's the law ever? It's not forever. We'll see later. There are times that he does go out. Mitzvah, even for the sake of a mitzvah. To note that the Rambam is quoting a Gemara, a Mishnah, but deviates from the Mishnah with a number of additional cases, changes in wording. For instance, the Mishnah says Eidus mitzvah. The Rambam writes Lidvar mitzvah. Oile Eidus, or for Eidus, Ben Eidus Mammon, Ben Eidus Nefashis. Afilu lahatzi, whether it's a lahatzel nefesh be'edusay. It seems to be a third case, which doesn't say that. Oy lahatzel miyad hagayis, or to save from a gayis, from a group of people that are coming at the city. Oy miyad anar, miyad adleika, or to save people or objects from could be people too, from a river that's overflowing, or a fire that's burning, or there's a collapse of a building, and the clincher of all was the next part. Even if all Yidden need his Yeshua, his help. Ki Yayav ben Sriya, like the general of the army of Yayav ben Sriya. Eina Yetzim Misham La'ilam. Again, never got forever. But here he adds the line. Ad Meisa Kain Agadol. No, that's not forever, but only till Kain Agadol. La'ilam, Ad Meisa Kain Agadol. Which is, again, problematic in the wording. For beginning La'ilam, again La'ilam. And then, but here he qualifies. Ad Meisa Kain Agadol. Im Yatsa Hiteratzum Lemisa. And if he does go out, he's ready to die. As we explained. So, what is it? What is he referring to? Now, halacha test. Just to note, he says when you go out of that a Rotzei'ach does go out under certain conditions. Echad kein gadol amashuach me'ashem mishcha, ve'echad amru begadol, ve'echad kein gadol ha'evid, ve'echad kein sha'avar kol echad ma'abason shemeis. All of these people bring their Rotzei'ach home. That's basically it. The big question that's asked, Hayitach, Klal Yisrael is in a matziv of sakon. There's a war going on. Hayitach, we don't let them go out. How could that be? This is the greatest pikuach nefesh the rabbin, pikuach nefesh of the whole world. Just as a side note, and that's not that doesn't fit to the Rambam. He wants to say that it does fit the Rambam. I don't see how but he said like this. Cheshik Shleiman says a very dike, pilpul dike answer. And the Gemara doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that he got that faket. He's medayik in his la'ilam and boom faket. That what the Rambam is trying to say, it's a nice people that he doesn't go la'ilam just because he went out for this. How he can go out to help Klal Yisrael? It's not shaykh. The Torah says, don't think that since he went out already to help Klal Yisrael, okay, now he's forgiven. It's like another way of getting out of Golus. No, you still have to continue back. You have to go back. That's why the Rambam stresses the Eilam. And that's why he ends up ad Meisai. Forget that he uses all those diukim that we use to explain it this way. But then he says it's not mashron lashon tesefta, and it's definitely a big chiddush. It's not, to say the least, it's not the conventional wisdom out there. Paket, the Ersemeach, and he then brings him in the Sikha also. It says that that's why the Rambam has to bring a pasuk, because I mean otherwise why he doesn't go out? Because we would think he should go out. So what's Takim Shat? What does the pasuk teach us? He wants to say that Bezdin can't let you're not mechuyev to put yourself into a suffix sakana to save somebody else from avada sakana. And that's what he wants to bring rayas to that, and that's what he wants to say. However, and he brings another place to prove that. Interesting proof. It says, talking about Yitzias Mitzrayim, Moshe Rabbeinu was in Midian, and the Eibusha told him, Leich shuv Mitzrayim ki meisu kol hanoshim v'akshem namshech. Says that in Meshech Chacham. So he says, what's Shah? Why is the Eibusha have enough community? V'akshem namshech. He had to go save Klal Yisrael. So he wants to save a kid. That's what they was telling him. He says, "Miklal lahen at the Shemei Allah." That if the V'akshem namshech were not Mason, they were alive, then you didn't have to be machnas for zakana. It's again, it's a nice shot in the chumash. It's hard to digest. That the Eibusha has to tell him that Mesu Kal Noshim, unless you want to dafka der chatev. Okay, it's a big chiddush. The bigger problem with it is that the Rambam doesn't hold like that. The Rambam says in Perik Aleph, Aloch Yedalid of Rotzei'ach, that we're learning, Kol Ayochel Lahatzil, anybody that can save somebody who's being chased after. Somebody who's dying or could die, is in a dangerous position, and you don't go and save him, is then that's the Kesem Mishnah Gois Maimoni that he references that and brings the Yishalmi that even to put yourself in a suffix sakana, you have to go and put yourself in a suffix sakana to save somebody else's vada. Why? So the Kesem Mishnah writes, because this is a vadai, he's going to die and it's a suffix. Okay, there's a lot of discussions about it. There's a Radvaz that maybe argues on this, but it's not for our discussion. That's not. I just want mentioning it as a side. And just as one avenue of possibly explaining this halacha, and then we'll go into the deeper approach to it. Minchas Chinuch in Mitzvah Tavchav Hey asks a Meiri Kasha. How are we allowed to go to war? War means, as anybody has followed, there's people who die on both sides. And the Torah doesn't rely on S. That's what he writes. So how do we go to war? So he says, it's obvious that when it comes to war, the din of Kuach Nefesh, Deiche, does not exist. War, by definition, means that David said, you go to war without Kuach Nefesh, is not going to be Deiche. So he said, so based on this Minchas Chinuch, you can't say that there's any cheshbon of Pikuach Nefesh by the general who's in Golus, or the person who's in Golus who can save Klal Yisrael. So obviously that's not the issue. So what's the issue? I just want to mention again an approach. The Rambam in Hilchos Melachim writes about war. Perek Zayin Halacha Tesvav. Whoever goes to war and he has no fear, and he goes to war for one reason, Muftach loy yimtze nezek nezek tagi'uhu ra, and no evil is going to happen to him. Muftach loy, it's guaranteed. Even loy bayis nochem b'Yisrael, yizke loy levan avad elam, yizke l'chayel mabo. I'm telling you, these brachas are incredible. Shnema ki asa yas Hashem ladeini bayis neman ki melchemes Hashem. So the question is, what's the Ram doing here? The Ram just coming to give you brachas? Unlikely that that's his goal in a sefer of halachas. So I wrote about this in a different inyan. That the Rambam believes that this is halacha. That you don't have to worry. You're muftach. Nothing's going to happen to you. In fact, that's what the Rambam is coming to answer. That it's not Mesiras Nefesh. War, not by definition, there's no pikuach nefesh. There's no such thing as nest. By war, there is not a nest to be safe. That's the din of war. That's the guarantee of war. That's the Meshuach Muhammad. You guys can't handle. You're not in that league. Once you're in this league, but in Echanami, mitzat pikuach nefesh, it would be us. This is all pikuach nefesh. It's in your hands. So it could be based on that. Since war is not a natural occurrence, so there's a guy who can help us in the war. But war is not natural. We don't need to war. We don't need to worry about it. The same one who told us go to war and don't be worried told us don't take this guy. He should stay there. That's why he need the pasuk. He said without the pasuk he would go out. But no, he wouldn't. Since it says sham tehei that he's not allowed to go out. So the same Eibusher who's doing the war, is writing the war, is the one that tells you don't go out. Interesting, I found, when I was doing the Sinyan, I found that the Divrei Yatziv, the Kleisenberger, in Siman Ayin Tes and Chesed Mishpat, Imam says the same concept in one line. He says, "Lama nitten litkas mitzvahs yeshiva sibar miklam ne'atzalos nefashos." Why did you let him go? And he answers to teach you Hashem ish Muhammad. Well, look, I don't know if he means exactly, but the word is, don't worry about it. What you need him? Hashem ish Muhammad. He'll take care of you. But I think that the way we're saying it is a little better. The one who tells you war is guaranteed is the telling you don't take it. I'll guarantee it without it. Okay, and now let's get back to some of the oros that we mentioned. First of all, the la'ilam, assuming not like the Cheshik Shleima, who has an answer for that. Why the la'ilam? And then qualifying the la'ilam. And again, he uses the word la'ilam not like the Gemara uses it. There it says la'ilam before. Here it doesn't say la'ilam by Yev Tzriya. If he's decided, if he avila kol Yisrael tzrichim. Rambam brings a whole bunch of different cases that are not, as he mentioned, that's not mentioned in the Gemara. Lahatzel, miyad agayis, miyad nohar, miyad leika, pelas. That's not the Gemara. He also doesn't bring what the Gemara brings. The Gemara brings Yisrael tzrichim. He doesn't use that case. And also the hitiratil mitzvah. Why he brings it over here? He already wrote it before that a Rotzei'ach goes out. He said, again, the Cheshik Shleima is Mahalach answers that. And we said, why there seems to be like a statement that He stays Le'olam ad Meisa Kain Gadol. Le'olam and ad Meisa Kain Gadol are two opposites. And you can't tell me that that's what he's coming to teach you ad Meisa Kain Gadol, because in the next halach he tells you ad Meisa Kain Gadol. What's the purpose of it? Okay, the Rebbe in Chelik Lamed Ches, Parshas Masei, Sicha Beis, says an unbelievable chiddush, now a beautiful uftu in the Indian of a Rotzei'ach going out of our miklat, in the Indian of Hita Atzon Misa, and he says his nakuda is that and it's with the Yukim and the Rambam over there. Because I learned the Sikha to see that you say this, but the nakuda is there's two things. When a Rotzei'ach goes out of Golos, there's the Hiter Atzmin Lemisa, and there's the Reshus Biad Goel Adam Laharga. He has made himself prone to Misa, and or he's made himself a mutter to be killed, and also that the Goel Adam has a right to kill him. And if everybody kills him, then Chayav Malah. So what's the two things? One is that the Goyla becomes a mitzius of a Hiter Atzon Lemisa. Has nothing to do with the fact that he could be killed. And this is we go out of this, he becomes a person that lacks that in the Rebbe's concept, he lacks some right to live. He doesn't have the right. He lost that right. And then there's a second thing, that the Goel Adam has a right to kill him. And then there's a difference between Goel Adam and Shara Adam. And he says, Hiter Atzon Lemisi learned from V'nos Shama. So it's interesting. It says, Shamtei di Rotzei, Shamtei Misase, Shamtei Kurosei. And when it comes to the what do you mean that all this? So the vart is that he Shamtei Kurosei. That's where he lives. He doesn't live anywhere else. He goes out. He has no life. He has no life. So the Rebbe says, based on this, what do you tell him? He should go out and help Klal Yisrael. When he goes out, he's at the din of Gavra Ketila. He has no chiyuvim. He can't be mechayiv him to do anything. You can't have a chiyuv on him to go and do something. As soon as he goes out, he's not here. And therefore, he can't tell him Pikuach Nefesh on a person that's a Gavra Ketila. That's why the Mishnah brings all three. Shamtei dirasei, Shamtei nisasei, Shamtei grasei. That this is weird. This is him. Out of there, he doesn't have a life. Only there. That's why he brings all three. Okay, this is the aside of Chiddush of Hiter Atzon Lemisa does not mean he now could be killed. He is not a living being outside of the of Arimikla. Based on that, you can take it a little step further in this wording, at least. Outside of Golos, outside of Arimikla, he's dead. He's not alive. Gavra Ketil means he's dead. Inside Allah, he's dead. Oh, where only in Golus he's alive. There's an interesting lashon in the Gemara. Ovid leichiyusa, chai, ovid leichiyusa. In Golus he lives. Outside of Golus he doesn't live. If I say, you can answer some of the ha'aras we had. When the Rambam writes, he means La'ilam. Right now, this Goyle is only alive here. Outside, he's not alive. This is forever. Navas. We can create a sort of a Tchias HaMesim. Now, when he goes out, he can be alive. Okay, that's a new situation. Right now, it's like this man lives here, dies there. Out there, he's not alive. To him, it's a La'ilam. That's what he's stressing, the La'ilam. I mean, it's not a steer to the La'ilam ad Moisakain Agadol, because it's the La'ilam again is the stress that this is his whole being. Sein ganze Metzias Agayla can only be here. But you can have a Tchias Amazim. You know, that's also exists. The Mason will have Tchias Amazim. You can't say that they lived the whole time. There was a Mason, and then there's a that's this right now. There is nothing else by him outside of here. His La'ilam is here. Now, Faket could be that's why the Rambam mentions these other cases of saving Jews from Agayis or saving from Amapelas. Faket. He tries to specifically, first of all, the Rambam has a mocker to some of this, because this is Lashon in Sifri Zuta in a Sifri, and there it does say a lot of these cases. Why does he choose that over the Mishnah? Because the Mishnah could be learned the way we said before, that it's not mitzad the fact that he for side reason. The reason is because we don't need him, not because of him. We don't need him. We rely on the Eibishter, like we said before. Our Mechama belongs to the Eibishter. Shemish Mechama. But therefore, he brings other case. He brings the Sifri because the Sifri brings cases which is not Mechama, and there is Pikuach Nefesh, and yet we don't let him go. To bring out that it's not a din Mechama only. Mechama tak is a Chiddush and Zal. That can still remain a Chiddush. That we may have to come on to it, but or we could use it al kapan. Here we can't use that, and yet he can't go out. Why? As we said, the Rebbe says, because he's not shaykh to this whole chiyuv. Okay, and that's why he doesn't mention Yisrael Shichem, because he mentioned all the things. Now, why he switches Eidus Mitzvah to Dvar Mitzvah is also based on the Sifri, because the Sifri says Lomu Lesakot, to go for he's a mile. He's the only mile around. No, can't go out. That's the Gzeres HaKosel. And the answer is it's a mitzvah. Now, in Eidus, he's also assuming what's the chiddush of Eidus mitzvah? What's different than any other Eidus? You can't go to Eidus. You can't go to Eidus. You can't go to Eidus for din nefashos. The teretz is because it's a mitzvah. So that's why he writes the mitzvah. According to the Rebbe's Malach, you can all the words in the Rambam fit beautifully why he stresses that. The Kudas Hadava is that his life is only in right now. His only life that he is shaykh to is here. His whole life, his whole world is here. Nothing else. Not shaykh anywhere else. Goes out, he's a dead man. Not because he could be killed, because it's etzem. That's what happens. And that's he becomes a Gavri Ketil, mainly not shaykh to anything else. He has to do. That can come alive too. That's a new matzav. That's a whole new situation. Okay. No, we're holding by Yitzhak Mitzrayim, David Shalom. We should go out. Mitzrayim Galtonu, Beis Havodim B'Disanu. Should be the Gula Mitas Hashlema. And Metz Hashem. We should be able to celebrate. And we've been Eichel Sham in Sochim and Azvachim. And in the Matzah Shabbos, the kid in the Schais. Sei gesund.